What I'm about to tell you will make you question everything you think you know about the darkness lurking beneath your bed. Before you dismiss this as another horror story, know that FBI agent Stephen Draper spent 30 years documenting cases that would make even the most skeptical person lock their doors twice. The pattern he discovered was so terrifying that it changed his nightly routine forever. Listen carefully because this might save your life or the life of someone you love. Picture this: you're sleeping peacefully in your bed when suddenly you hear faint whispers coming from beneath you. Your heart races as you realize someone or something is down there, speaking in hushed tones. You convince yourself it's just your imagination, but deep down you know something isn't right. This is exactly what happened to dozens of children across America, and what FBI agent Stephen Draper uncovered will haunt you long after you finish listening to this story. In 1982, Stephen Draper joined the FBI with one mission: to investigate the most bizarre disappearances of children under 15. But these weren't ordinary missing person cases. These children vanished from locked rooms with no signs of forced entry, no witnesses, and absolutely no trace left behind. It was as if they had been swallowed by the earth itself. What Draper discovered over the next 3 decades would challenge everything he believed about reality. The first case that would change everything happened in 1985. Draper received a call about a 6-year-old girl who had mysteriously disappeared from her New York City apartment during the night. The parents woke up to find her bed empty, the room undisturbed, and no explanation for where she could have gone. But what the mother told him next sent chills down his spine. For exactly 1 week before her disappearance, the little girl had been terrified to go to sleep, claiming that someone was whispering to her from underneath her bed. The parents had dismissed it as nightmares, checking under the bed each night only to find nothing there. But Draper made note of something crucial: the whispering had started exactly 7 days before the child vanished. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a pattern so sinister it would consume his life. The very next day, another call came in. Another family, another missing child. This time it was an 8-year-old boy. And once again, the parents mentioned the same terrifying detail. Their son had been scared for exactly 7 days, claiming someone was whispering to him from under his bed. The whispers had started precisely 7 days before he disappeared. By the 3rd day, when a 3rd child vanished under identical circumstances, Draper knew he was dealing with something far beyond a typical kidnapping case. The pattern was becoming clear, and it was more horrifying than anything he had encountered in his career. For 7 consecutive days, 7 children would be taken, each one having experienced the mysterious whispers for exactly 1 week before their disappearance. After the 7th child vanished on the 7th day, the disappearances stopped as suddenly as they had begun. Draper and his team spent years investigating these 7 cases, following every lead, examining every piece of evidence, but they found nothing. It was as if the children had simply evaporated into thin air. Eventually, their superiors pulled them off the case and shelved the files. 7 years passed. 7 long years of wondering, of sleepless nights, of questions without answers. Then, in 1992, exactly 7 years to the day after the New York incidents, Draper's phone rang. Before he even picked it up, he somehow knew what the call would be about. A sheriff from Seattle, Washington was on the line, reporting that 3 children had mysteriously vanished from their beds over the past 3 days. Without hesitation, Draper told the sheriff there would be a 4th child taken that night, and he was already booking the first flight to Seattle. His prediction proved horrifyingly accurate. The 4th call came just 2 hours after his arrival. This time, Draper didn't waste time with standard questions. The moment he walked into the missing child's home, he asked directly if their daughter had mentioned hearing whispers from under her bed. The parents were shocked by his question, confirming that yes, their 9-year-old daughter had indeed complained about mysterious whispers for exactly 7 days, but this case was different. The parents had heard loud muffling sounds coming from their daughter's room and had rushed in immediately. Yet somehow, in the mere 4 seconds it took them to reach her room, she had vanished completely. The windows were locked from the inside, and there was no possible way anyone could have left the room without being seen. Draper knew more children would be taken, and he begged his superiors to warn the public through news broadcasts. But they refused, claiming it would cause unnecessary panic and that his theories were pure speculation. 3 more children would pay the price for this decision. On the fifth night, something happened that would forever change how Draper viewed reality. A mother had forgotten to retrieve her daughter's clothes for the next day and quietly entered her 7-year-old's room. What she witnessed defied all logic and reason. In the dim light from the hallway, she saw her daughter being pulled under the bed by a large, gray, wrinkled hand with long, dark yellowish nails. The mother lunged forward, desperately trying to grab her child, but she wasn't fast enough. Her daughter disappeared beneath the bed, and despite frantic searching, no trace of her was ever found. The bed sat flush against the floor with no space underneath, yet somehow the child had been pulled into what should have been solid ground. 2 more children vanished over the next 2 days, and then, just like 7 years before, the disappearances stopped abruptly. Draper and his team were left with more questions than answers, forced to confront the possibility that they were dealing with something that existed beyond human understanding. Years went by with no answers, no closure, and no explanation for what they had witnessed. Then, in November 1997, an elderly man with a cane slowly walked into Draper's office. What this stranger told him would provide the final piece of a puzzle that had been centuries in the making. The old man revealed that when he was 10 years old, he had almost become the 7th victim of this same phenomenon. 6 other children in his city had disappeared one by one over 6 days, and on the 7th night, he had barely escaped the large gray hand that tried to pull him under his bed. Since that night, he had devoted his entire life to researching this recurring nightmare. According to his decades of investigation, every 7 years, in cities around the world, 7 children are taken by whatever lurks beneath our beds. This pattern, he claimed, had been documented for centuries through folklore, old newspapers, and historical records. Some say it's a demon that feeds every 7 years, others believe it's a witch or even the devil himself. But they all agree on one thing. It's always 7 years, always 7 children, and the children are never seen again. Before leaving, the old man turned to Draper with haunting final words: "It can't be stopped. Don't waste your life away like I did." He walked out of the office, and Draper never saw him again. He never even learned the man's name. That conversation changed Stephen Draper forever. Despite being a man of facts and evidence, someone who didn't believe in the supernatural, he now performs the same ritual every single night without fail. Before going to sleep, he checks under his bed, knowing that somewhere out there, the pattern continues, and the next 7-year cycle could begin at any moment. The question that should keep you awake tonight is this: when was the last time you checked under your bed? And if you hear whispers in the darkness, remember that you might have exactly 7 days to figure out what to do about it. Sweet dreams, and remember to keep your feet under the covers. The question that should keep you awake tonight is this: when was the last time you checked under your bed? And if you hear whispers in the darkness, remember that you might have exactly 7 days to figure out what to do about it. Sweet dreams, and remember to keep your feet under the covers. What scares you more, the thought that this could be real, or the fact that you'll probably check under your bed tonight? Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard strange whispers in your room. And if stories like this send chills down your spine, subscribe, because the truth behind these mysteries might just save your life one day. After all, knowledge is the only weapon we have against the unknown.